Hello all you menlies and all you womenlies. How are you doing today? Today I'm going to talk about the conversation I had with Sal and the conversation I had with Gary and the conversation I had with the emissaries about that afterwards. So I'll fill you in on the other side. So if you've seen the conversations that I had with Sal, we covered a lot of ground, but at the end I said to him, so what's coming up? What are you going to see? And he was talking about the Charlie who gives him this information, talking about this window that we've got about 15 years, I think, and that at the end of it, some of us are going to go off. If there's enough, if we manage to get to a certain level, then we'll be going off somewhere, and then the rest will be staying, okay? And the issue what Sal was saying was it's not certain. It's not sure that it'll happen. And maybe we'll just be stuck in another round, another endless, needless round of God knows what. So I asked the emissaries and I said, look, what do you make of that? And they said, well, it isn't outside of the realm of possibilities that maybe this won't happen, this split, this great awakening. But they said, from what we see, the energies that we read and what we're being told, the likelihood is, yes, it's going to happen. They said, well, it's more than just a likelihood. It's almost like, yes, it's going to happen. They said, however, everything is mutable. There is nothing fixed. And I'll come on to that, while they were saying something else. Because I said to them, Sal was saying that we're actually going to go to another planet. We're going to be taken off to another place, another planet, up to a ship and then off to another place where higher levels are lived. So what do you make of that? Because the emissaries just talk about a split of timeline. And they say that it'll happen so naturally that you won't see it. Okay? So a little bit of difference in story. And they said to me, okay, they said that we're not saying that that's not going to happen, because they said the difficulty is, and the reason that they are always a little bit blurry about the details. What they said is that nothing is set in stone. Everything is mutable. And they said, because don't think about all of this as something solid and concrete. It is pretendy. We're living in a pretendy universe. And they said, so it isn't as literal as we're going to go onto a spaceship and then we're going to go to another planet. They said, what's going to happen is what we are going to manifest based on our expectations, etc. So, because we create this, that's what they were saying. It's not something that's set there and it's made like a house, and the house will never change. Maybe it's fluctuating all the time. Maybe it's changing all the time based on what we expect, based on our energy, based on our frequency, based on our vibration, and that of the plan and that of the world, everything. And that's the reason why the emissaries never get into details, because they keep saying that everything's changeable, everything's mutable. And so it doesn't make sense to talk about this is what's going to happen. You can, because if you look into the future, and people do it all the time with that remote viewing and stuff like that, look into the future and see something solid and say that's what's going to happen. But all you're seeing is a projection from this place to that place of an idea of a potential. That's all. And of course, then the very next second that could change, and then the very next day that could be something completely different, because everything changes. So that's what the emissaries were saying. What Charlie's saying, Sal's Charlie, isn't right, it isn't wrong. It's a possibility within a realm of possibilities. Yeah. So that's what they were saying. However, what do I know? I'm just telling you what they said. And then I asked them about the conversation with Gary, because Gary wanted me to ask the emissaries about the Fibonacci sequence and the moon, saying that the Fibonacci sequence was actually given as a control mechanism to keep us suppressed, to keep us controlled, just as the moon is there as a controlling mechanism. That's not the first time that I've heard that, by the way, that the moon is there. It was never there. It hasn't been there always. And it was put there as a controlling mechanism. Okay, so I asked embassies what they thought of that. And in their inimitable fashion, they said, well, that's not really our remit. However, they said, everything on this timeline is set up to enchain us, to enslave us. Right? They said, and this is, they came very, very clear about this timeline. They said this timeline is specifically designed this way, that it's a prison planet, that we come into this timeline in chains, and our job is to release ourselves from the shackles. And so they said it makes absolute sense that there are many things in place that are designed to hold us down, because that's the purpose. That's what this game is all about on this timeline, is breaking free. And they said that's why you hear lots of people calling this a prison planet, because that's what this timeline's all about. It's about you're in prison, you're shackled, you're tied up, and that's metaphorical, tied up in paradigms, in religions, in political views, in everything, tied up. And our job is to break free of that. And so they said, yeah, it would make sense that the baddies would put things in place designed to hold us down. They said, just as everything else is designed, everything is designed, whether it be the water, the pharmacy, the government, the media, whatever, school, everything is designed to suppress us. And our job over this short period, whatever this period is to get the fuck out of it. Break those chains. And they were kind of reeling off the things we're talking about, the lines in the sky and everything. All of that is designed to suppress mankind. And our job is to burst through all of that. And they showed me even, have you heard about sigils? The sigils. And there was a couple that used to talk about sigils, and I don't know where they went, disappeared. Maybe they're getting too close to the mark. But the sigils the idea is from the seals of Solomon. And these seals are what actually command the darkness, hold the darkness in place. And this couple that we're talking about this were showing the sigils that are used like on the news, when the news is doing the leading and the bang, 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 bang music and having sigils there. And they were saying that those sigils they actually control us, repress us, suppress us and all of that. And the emissaries reminded me of that as well. The same thing. And the thing is, if this timeline is designed that way, that's what we signed the contract going, right, you're going to go into prison planet? Go on then. We'll give it a go. It can't be that bad, can it? What's the worst that could happen? We sign the contract and come down. And then we're bombarded. From the day of before we're born with just endless controlling mechanisms. And our first job is to realise that they're there. And our second job is to work out how to not let them affect us. And then the third job is to realise that all of that isn't important. And what is important is us putting ourselves right again, and then God, getting back to God. That's it. That's the story. The hero's journey and this timeline. Yeah. So lots and lots of people are waking up to what's going on. Yeah. Seeing all of these controlling mechanisms. I saw a video of them talking to people in Wales, and they were asking them about the facial recognition cameras that are everywhere now. And everyone was going, we don't agree. It's funny, isn't it? That nobody agreed, and yet there they are. How does that happen? Well, that's democracy for you. That's what democracy is all about. It doesn't matter what the people think. We're going to do what the fuck we want. But there's one guy who went, yeah, because it's all corrupt. They're all corrupt. It's just all one big, corrupt, horrible mechanism out there. And I thought, well, there's somebody who's completely awake, isn't it? So, are you free? Breaking free of the matrix. That's why do you think we have films like that on this timeline? You wouldn't find that on the timeline of Little House on the Prairie. No, you wouldn't have the Matrix film. Nobody going, well, what the hell is that about? Got to go and milk the cows. Yeah, and we watch it and go, ooh, Oh, that rings a bell, doesn't it? Oh, that hits me in a funny chakra here. Why? Because that's what we signed up for. Come and get it. Yeah, Prison Planet, come and get it. It's lovely. Sign up here. Prison Planet. However, that's where it starts, but it ends in a very beautiful place. And so in answer to Gary's, could the moon be, and and the Fibonacci, absolutely. They can't verify it, but I think you might be on a very, very sound track. And the more things that we identify that control us, once we identify them, they stop controlling us. That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.